Hey everyone, it's attorney Bianca Jordan from braidsandlegal.com. Thanks so much for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. Today's video is about sanctuary cities. Every now and then I get a question about sanctuary cities, and there was a little bit of confusion as to whether the North Carolina town that was featured in Immigration Nation was a sanctuary city, and so I just wanted to include that in this series. So, a sanctuary city isn't exactly what people think about on both sides. There are people that are very against sanctuary cities because they think that it's just open season and we're just going to let all the immigrants in and we don't care whether they're documented or not. We're just going to let them in and it's just going to be a free for all. They're going to steal jobs, there's going to be crime and so forth. And then there are also people that support sanctuary cities that believe that living in a sanctuary city means that ICE would never be able to come after them if they're living in a sanctuary city. So I want to use this video to set the record straight because there was a town in Immigration Nation in North Carolina where they had an election and they had a new sheriff, and that new sheriff said that they would not be cooperating with ICE. ICE has a controversial program called 287G in which ICE and local towns and cities will cooperate with ICE in order to try to detain or capture and detain immigrants and process them for deportation. So, one way this works is, for example, I had a client of mine one time who he was arrested for something that ended up being dismissed. But because he was arrested and fingerprinted and processed, that information went to ICE. So even though his case was dismissed, ICE still had that information on him. They picked him up, they detained him. Long story short, he was able to get out and he got married to a U.S. citizen, got his green card, lived happily ever after. But that's an example of something that can happen if your local city and town is cooperating with ICE. So the concept of a sanctuary city is kind of the opposite, in which case the city and town will not cooperate with ICE. So, for example, let's say that ICE is looking for me. So they might go to like Boston local police and say, we have a warrant for Bianca Jordan's arrest. We would like you to help us go get her. We know where she is. We would just like to use your police detail to help us go get her. If I'm living in a sanctuary city, Boston is going to say, no, we're not going to help you. But that doesn't mean that ICE can't come get me on their own. They can say, okay, well, we'll just go pick her up on our own then. That can still happen, even though I am living in a sanctuary city. So I want people to understand that living in a sanctuary city does not mean that ICE can never come get you. If they have a valid warrant for your arrest, they can still come and get you. It's just that the local cities and towns will not cooperate with ICE to help them come get you. And a lot of towns and cities will opt to become sanctuary cities because for one, they want to make their immigrant community feel safe and valued, but also because in a lot of towns, there are things that are happening to immigrants. Like immigrants tend to be victims of a lot of crimes because they're afraid to come forward, especially if they're undocumented. They're afraid to come forward because they think that their local police department is going to turn them over to ICE. That doesn't always happen depending on where you're living, but a sanctuary city would not do that. And so a sanctuary city wants immigrants to feel valued and to feel like they can trust the local law enforcement so that if they're the victim of a crime, they can come forward. For example, victims of domestic violence who are undocumented tend to never go to the police because, for one, oftentimes their abuser is threatening to call ICE on them if they go to the police about the abuse. And then because they're undocumented, they're afraid that if they go to the police to report the crime of domestic violence that's happening to them, that the police will then turn on them and report them to ICE. And that also doesn't really happen. So sanctuary cities are in place to allow immigrants to feel like they can report crimes that are happening either to themselves or if they are witnessing crimes happening to other people, regardless of their immigration status. A sanctuary city makes immigrants feel more comfortable doing so that they can actually help to reduce crime. In the Immigration Nation documentary series, ICE would have you believe that most immigrants are out here, all of them are undocumented and they're out here committing crimes like murder, rape, and what have you, and that's simply not true. Statistically speaking, the more immigrants you have in your community, the safer it actually is. And these immigrants are coming to this country under extraordinary circumstances and journeys. the last thing that they want to do is come to this country to cause trouble. They're coming to this country to work, to provide a better life for themselves here and their family back home. So their immigrants are really not committing crimes at the levels that ICE would have you believe that they are. So I wanted to hop on and just explain to you what a sanctuary city is. It's really just something that enables the community to feel a little bit safer because immigrants are more vested and they feel safer communicating with law enforcement without having to worry that they will be turned over to ICE. But at the same time, it does not mean that ICE cannot come get you if they have a valid warrant for your arrest. I hope you found this video helpful. Please visit brazenlegal.com to learn more about me and my law firm and how we can help you with your immigration cases. And please don't forget to hit the bell and subscribe to the video and the channel so that you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching.